Good day, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the Rect Show. Today, we are going to discuss how people were buying the breakout and are in losses today. We're going to discuss how to fill a McDonald's paper. No, I'm kidding. But if we are watching the charts, it's not really wonderful, if I'd say so. I don't understand why people should be bullish going into resistance, especially after a 50% drop. It's normal that we are bouncing back, but as we say, we're still acting in resistance over here, and we really have to crack above in order to become bullish. The overall decrease in volume is not really what you'd want to see, and the overall structure of a rising wedge is also not what you want to see. Alongside with that, the equity markets in the United States are dropping, which is also not what you want to see. And the jobless claims have reached a new all-time high, which I didn't expect to occur, but probably nobody. But 10 million people filled their jobless claim in the past 2 weeks, which is also not really bullish for the markets, right? So, what are we going to discuss today? We're going to discuss the movements of Bitcoin. We're going to discuss the movements of the equity markets. A little part of altcoins as well. And the only altcoins that I'm going to be bullish about for a little. Mostly just in cash. That's the only one I'm bullish about. But if we go to Bitcoin, we can see that it's pretty much the same chart as the one I've just shown. The all crucial area to break is this red zone, and we are still not breaking it. Yes, some people mentioned that I've moved the red zone up. That's correct. At first, I thought we were going to break at 6.9 already, 6.7, 6.9, given the level here. But given the OB over here, the level's a little bit higher, confluent with the trend line over here. So that's why the levels are still the same, but that's why it's shifted a little. What we can see here is that there's still a rising wedge, in which, if we check the Binance chart, the volume is just not there. I just don't like the volume at all. It's decreasing overall, which is the usual sign if we go back towards a resistance. The also usual sign is that people become bullish going into resistances. It's something you should be checking on as a sentiment on social media. People always turn bullish into resistances, and they turn bearish when we get to support. So one of the main signals to watch is just sentiment overall. I've seen also a ton of people flip-flopping the past few days, but that's not the point. The point is that everybody is bullish right now. Try to short, was stopped out, then flip long, now flip long and stopped out. So it's just a whale play. I've not been doing much the past week on trading. I'm just doing the same. Had some sweat as well, given this pump up. But at the moment we see a rising wedge, and I'm expecting the next week to be significantly red. We might see some retracements back up on the weekend, after which next week should be destructive. It's also earnings season, as far as I know, for the equity markets. It's also probably a hectic week for the coronavirus for the United States, as they are not slowing down. And with this pace, we'll have 1 million in about 2 weeks from now, cases only in the United States. So I don't see any bullish perspective. And as you can see, the circle is still the same. It's the red circle that my mouse is not working. It's the red circle where I get bullish if we break up. Otherwise, I'll get bullish if we get here. Given that we've got a trend line as well, I'm assuming that inclusive with the decrease in volume, we are going to break down. I'm probably going to see a move like this and then smash down just like a bouncing ball, as we have been saying. So I like to be in cash, waiting it out. If we break up, all fine, I'll buy the retest. Seems strange to happen given the whole market sentiment. Yes, we do have the halving coming up, but we can also bottom out around the halving and start the bull market from there. It's just that we are moving inside a resistance over here, and if we zoom in, we can see. No, I have to use the other one. I have to use the correct one. We can see that we made a lower high, rejected down, hopping around a little bit, but it's just not breaking 6971, which is the crucial area. Now we are bouncing a little after a trend line breakdown. We could still see something like this and then break down. It's just the whole higher time frame perspective that I'm going to use on this one. Let's check the equities, range bound a little. If we check the weekly, then we can see that we're still moving below the resistance, which is probably suiting a further drop down here. If we break above, I'm going to look for shorts in this area, but there's just no point in any bullish market at this moment. The only reason why it should be moving up is because of the Fed buying, I don't know, or like somebody buying. There's no point. The unemployment rate is going to be skyrocket level, so I don't know. I'm just expecting this bounce to be a relief bounce, as I've been discussing in the past few weeks, through which we're going to test the lows and just probably have a range for a little and then just fall down later on, probably faster. You can see it on the Dutch stock market as well, rejected at resistance, through which I'm assuming that next week is going to be red. And if next week is going to be red for the equity markets, I'm going to expect the same for crypto. For gold and silver, it's a little bit harder, as they are moving pretty decent. If they can't break their resistance levels, then I'm assuming we're going to see the same. But it would be nice if the correlation flips between these two. So let's go to our friends Ethereum, which is trying to break a resistance, as you can see. Should actually make the resistance like this, as that's the correct one, and then we are still moving inside a resistance area. A similar structure is built here, through which we can see a rising wedge, which generally doesn't break up. It's the daily, which doesn't break up. If we do, then I'm assuming we're going to see a rally to 195. Then I'll just buy the flip as well. But given that we have seen such a harsh drop down, I'm assuming we're going to see the same structure as here, in which we're going to test the lower levels still. So I'm not interested. Oh, sorry. Similar case for the BTC pair, which I'm mainly watching. Still no break above 0.022. So no bullishness for me unless we flip a support for support, or test a support for support, or flip a level for support. So these are still my levels to watch. The same game for Link. Nice bounce up, immediate rejection, and just doesn't show strength. If we rally up and flip the level over here, this area, then I'm interested in a long towards 44,000. If not, then I'll be interested in longing around the green zone as a test. But overall, I'm not that bullish on Chainlink. Chainlink is also acting inside the resistance while the RSI is crawling up, and then you usually see it bounce like this down, in which we just test the lows for support, and then I'll become interested. And if you think about it, BTC went from 75 to 68 now, which is like 10% down. Link is still 50% down. So yeah, it's not really good for altcoins right now. The time will come, but also Chainlink looks a lot like the period we've seen here. after the massive crash down, in which I believe we're going to retrace further down and maybe even hit $1. If we hit $1, I'm assuming I'm going to buy until $3, but I'll keep you posted. So if we go back towards Bitcoin, the only reason that I'm going to be bullish is if we flip the upper level for support, which I'm not expecting to see happening. We're just bouncing on a level now, as I can see, but it made a lower high, in which I assume that we're going to range for a little while during the weekend until we break down in the next week, and then we're going to be a bouncing ball south. So right now the view is the same. As you know, a rising wedge structure with decreasing volume going into resistance. It's just not a bullish outlook. The only coins that I'm interested in is IEOs. They could be doing something, but I'm not going to expose myself a lot to them. As we know, we've seen this move up here and then all the way down. And during the period all the way down, we've seen these moves of IEOs. They all move up from IEOs, as we can see. So does that mean that they are going to make heavy moves up? No. They can at least test levels like 55, 58, and some altcoins can still make some strong movements. We're going to discuss that some more during the live stream. But so the IEOs are not a really bad hedge usually. Also, what I'm going to watch is whether our dearest friend Ripple is going to make support here and starts to grind upwards. If it does and Bitcoin stays sideways, we could see a good pump on Ripple as well. And then the inverse correlation is back in play. Alright, I'm going to end off the video here. I'm going to be back tomorrow if something happens on the prices. Otherwise, I'll be back at 7:15 GMT +2 on Sunday for the live stream. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.